Hello everyone, welcome to Huawei's Routing and Switching Labs. My name is Jay Mehta and today we are going to connect my PC to a Huawei router which is in the eNSP software. Okay, so for doing this, there will be a set of commands that I will be using, and also I will be making use of a virtual interface which has been provided by Microsoft for the purpose of testing. So let's begin with the configuration. As always, there are going to be a set of steps or a set of tasks that we need to cover in order to ping the in order to ping my PC to the router. Okay, so here you can see there are going to be 8 steps that we are going to do. Okay, so in the end I am going to make use of software for telnetting my PC to the router. The name of the software is Putty. So in this way I will be able to connect to the router using the software Putty. So let's begin. So the first task that we have is we have to create a loopback interface. Okay, so as you all know that a loopback interface is a virtual interface, and this interface is going to be created by giving the command hdwwiz. Okay, that is hardware wizard, and this command has to be given in command prompt. So we'll go to start and then type command prompt. So yeah, here you have it. Now we are going to use the command hdwwiz.exe. So now you can see that the hardware wizard has opened up. Now before I continue any further, it is very important to follow these steps exactly as I do in order to get the desired output. Right? So I'll click next now. Now I'll install a hardware manually from the list. Select that option, click next. Now what I'm going to add is I'm going to add a network adapter. Okay, so I'll scroll down, or I can just type N and the network adapter will come up. I'll click next. Now over here in manufacturer I will select Microsoft. Again I can just scroll down. Yeah, so I have Microsoft, and in model I will look for a particular model which is called as a loopback interface. Yeah, so here you can see it is a test loopback adapter. Then I'll click next. So this will install the loopback adapter on my PC. So I'll click next and I'll wait for it to complete. So I see that the following hardware has been installed, so I close it. Alright, so our first task of creating a loopback interface using the command prompt and hardware wizard has been completed. Next is to rename the network adapter that we have just installed. We have to rename it to eNSP. Okay, so for doing that, again we go to start and adapter. We search for adapter options, or else what we can do is we can just straight away go to control panel. In control panel we'll go to network and internet. Okay, so we'll click on view network status and tasks. Okay, so here we'll look for the option which is change adapter settings. So once we click on change adapter settings, here we will have all the adapters that we want. Alright, so now we need to look for the adapter that we have just added. And how do we find it? We'll have to look for an adapter in which it is showing as an unidentified network, and it is a Microsoft KM test loopback. Okay, so now we are just going to rename this. Okay, so we are going to rename it as eNSP. Alright, so yeah, I already have eNSP with me, so what I'm going to do is I'll name it as eNSP1. Okay, so the second task of renaming the network adapter is done. Next is to put an IP address on the network adapter that we have just installed, and the IP address that we're going to put is 192.168.10.1. Alright, so again going back, I'll click on it, then I'll click on properties. In properties, I look for the option that is TCP Internet Protocol version 4, TCP IP version 4, and then I'll click on properties, and over here I'll use the option of manually entering the IP address. So here I'll enter the IP address as 192.168.10.1, right, and then I'll press OK. I'll close it. Alright, so this 10.1 IP address has been set. Now we have to open eNSP and connect a cloud to the router. Okay, so this is our topology that we are going to create in the eNSP, where this PC is going to be my actual PC. Okay, and the router is going to be eNSP's router. So this is be eNSP. Okay, so let's do that. Again, I go to start, I look for eNSP. Okay, alright, so the eNSP software is up. I'll go to new topo. Over here I'll drag a router, and in order to represent my PC, I'm going to make use of a cloud. Okay, and in the cloud there are certain settings that I'm going to do, which you have to follow them exactly in order to get the desired output. Alright, so you're supposed to click on cloud, and in cloud the first setting that you have to do is you have to change the port type from Ethernet to gigabit Ethernet. Okay, and in the binding info you are supposed to find out, or you are supposed to look for the loopback interface that we have just configured. Okay, so here you can see I have got eNSP. So this was the IP address, or this was the uh, previous eNSP network adapter which I had. So the new eNSP adapter that I've added is eNSP1. So right now you do not see it on this particular binding info page. So the reason for that is I need to restart my laptop, or I need to restart my PC. So we'll continue once I restart my PC. So welcome back. Now I have restarted my laptop. So let me again start with the same topology. So I'll go to new topo. Again, I'll add the cloud, and from the router, I'll pick up the router. And now, once I click on cloud, and I can now see that eNSP1 with the IP address 192.168.10.1 is present. So before I select that binding info, I need to change the port type from Ethernet to Gigabit Ethernet, and again select the IP of the virtual interface, and then I click on add. So you can see that it has been added over here. So I've selected the IP address. Now I need to select the traffic. So the traffic is going to be UDP, and then I'm going to click on add. So for port mapping, I'm going to use port type as Gigabit Ethernet port, and the number will be for local port it will be 1, and for remote port it will be 2. And this communication should be a two-way channel. So I'll click on it and I'll click on the button add. So once I've configured this much part, I can close it. Now I'll go to router, I'll turn it on. So let's come back to our original steps. So we had to, in the fourth task, we had to open the eNSP and connect the cloud to the router. So we have configured the cloud. We'll now connect it. So we'll go to connections, copper, and we'll connect it to the cloud. Okay, so task 4 is completed. Now we have to put an IP address on the router, that is 192.168.10.2. Okay, so let me do that. Go to eNSP, go to router interface. Okay, so I see it is still booting up, so I'll wait. Alright, so now I can see that the router has booted up. So now I can go to system view. In system view, I need to interface Gigabit Ethernet 0/0/0 and set the IP address as 192.168.10.2, and the subnet mask will be 24. So the IP address is set and the link has gone green, which means that we are good to go, right? So we have set the IP address. Okay, next is we have to ping from my PC to the router, and in order to ping from my PC, I'll again go to start, command prompt, and in command prompt I'll use the command ping 192.168.10.2. So yes, you can see that I am getting a reply. I can even verify this with Wireshark. So I'll capture the data which is being flowing through Gigabit Ethernet 0/0/0. So using Wireshark, and now I will use the command which is ping 192.168.10.2 -t. Okay, so yes, I see that the Wireshark interface is up, and we'll just wait for it to get ready. Okay, so I have this. I'll just arrange this. Okay, alright, so now I'm going to give the command, that is ping 192.168.10.2. so yes, you can see that the ICMP packets have been flowing, and they are coming from 10.1, that is the IP address that I had given to my loopback interface, and they're going to the destination is 10.2. Okay, that is the IP address that I had given to the router. Okay, so I'll just turn this off. Right, so this proves that I have connected my PC to the router which is present in the eNSP simulator. Right, so that is completed. So task number 6 is over. Next is we need to configure Telnet on the router. Alright, so I'll go to the router. Okay, I'll use the command quit. I'll again come back to the system view, and in the system view I'm going to use the command user interface vty 0,4 authentication mode password. So now all right, I'll just maximize it. So yes, you can see over here. Okay, so yes, the first command that I've used is to configure Telnet. It is user interface vty 0,4. Then I have used that I need to configure a password, and I will be configuring the password as JAY123. Alright, so this has been configured, so I'll use quit. Okay. Alright, yeah. Okay, so there was a spelling mistake over here. Okay, so now coming back, I have configured Telnet on the router, and now it's asking me to Telnet from the PC. So for telnetting, what I'm going to use is I'm going to use a software which is called as Putty. It is a free software which you can download from the internet, or the link for the Putty software will be there in the description box. So I'll go to start Putty. So here I have it, Putty, and over here I will select Telnet, right, and I'll put the ID as 192.168.10.2. so now once I try to telnet, and if I am successful, it's gonna ask me to enter the password that I have just set up. Okay, and if I'm not successful, so the connection will not be established. So let us check. All right, so I'll click on open. Okay, so yes, the connection is successful. Now I'm going to enter the password. Okay, so through Telnet, what I've done is I can remotely configure the router. So this brings us to the end of this lab session. So let us quickly revise what all we have done in this lab session. So we have to first open, or we have to first create a loopback interface on our system, and for doing that I have used the tools hardware wizard from the command prompt. Next, I have renamed the hardware that I had added, the loopback interface, to eNSP. After that, I have given it an IP address which was 192.168.10.1, and the subnet mask was 255.255.0. Then I opened the eNSP, and I've used the cloud as an interface of my system, and I have connected it to the router which was in the eNSP, and then I have configured the router to the IP address 192.168.10.2. The ping was successful. After that, I have configured Telnet on the router, and then through the help of a software which is called as Putty, was able to successfully connect to the router which is there in the eNSP. All right, so let me just show it. Yeah, so here I have it. So you can see that now I am in the system view. So this brings us to the end of this particular lab. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do like, share and comment on this particular video. And if you have any questions or queries, feel free to ask me in the comment section. So thank you so much for joining in. Goodbye.